Hey everyone, I have a few plant tasks that I need to do today, so I thought it would be fun to do that together, and it's an absolutely beautiful day, so I'm also gonna go for a walk outside. Walking is one of my favorite activities. I love, especially when the weather is nice after a long winter, to get out when I can, and there are some really beautiful just parkways and yards and little gardens that I walk by, and I share them a lot on Instagram because it's easy to take a photo and share it there. I don't really think I've ever necessarily shared it on YouTube. So I thought I would also just take you along on the walk and show you some of my favorite gardens that I passed by in Chicago. But first, let me show you what's on my list to do with my seedlings. Here is what my seed rack is looking like right now. So I have to, number one, pot up some of these. I think my cucumber and my zucchini. And when I do that, I'm only planning to grow one, maybe two in the garden. So I'm also going to leave the extras on my front stoop to give away. So we'll pot those up as well. I don't think I have anything to do with the gomphrena. Down here, these are my zinnias, one of the trays of zinnias. And then this is my tray that I'm gonna try to divide some of the hollyhocks where more than one have sprouted. Now, I think I mentioned this before, but my second year germination rate for asters, so the asters that I got for last year's garden and I'm trying to do again this year, germination rate has not been great. It's this section here. So somebody said that aster germination rate decreases a lot faster in their experience in other seedlings. So someone else said they just basically threw all of their seedlings in there. So I have taken any other seeds of the asters and dumped them all in there. And I'm hoping that some germinate, because let me come over here. So I only started 6, I think, of Lady Coral Lavender and Bonita Shell Pink, which I love. And I so far have 1 of the 6 of the Lady Coral Lavender and 3 of the Bonita Shell Pink. So that's what I'm looking at so far. So I did plant the rest of the seeds that I had. I just stuck them into the pellets and I'm hoping that they germinate. So I've got my 4 cucumber plants and I'm trying not to just sniff my plants in all my videos, but they smell so good and it just makes me so excited. So we have 4 of the cucumber and look at the roots on these. These are ready for sure to be potted up. Then I have my 3 zucchini. I did start 4 cells, but only 3 of them germinated. But again, I'm only keeping 2, so that's okay. And then I have 1 of the champagne hollyhocks. I started 3. 2 of the pellets had seedlings that germinated, and this one has 2 in them. Now, I have mentioned this before, but one of the downsides I feel like of these peat pellets is it's a bit harder to separate them just because like this is all intertwined together, but it's still doable. We're gonna do it today. So I'll pot each of these up and then that way I'll have 3. And I do plan to use all 3 of those in my garden. So I won't be giving any of those away. But when I make my giveaway bouquets, I bet that some of these might be in it. I don't know, we'll see. Now I'm grabbing nursery containers, which I think most of these are from plants that I've purchased from garden centers in the past. In fact, were these what my herbs were in that I just potted up? Maybe. So I have these, which I save more than I ever reuse, but I've always saved them just in case. I have masking tape to label them. I have my Sharpie, and then I just need the potting soil. So I take this stool, so I had these stools obviously to sit on, but typically, I mean, it's just me and my husband. It's not like there are 4 people sitting up here. So you can use your stools as plant stands, indoors, obviously. And then this potting soil bag. So let's get messy. I think I'll first just pot up and label. Let's move all of you to the side. I'm gonna grab a towel too. I always have random towels lying around, and then I don't know if this is an issue other people have, but most of the towels that I use for gardening look like this. They're old, they're frayed, but I also have a problem getting really pretty hand towels and then never using them. In fact, even like to dry my hands after washing them because I'm like, oh, they're so precious that I don't want to ever use them. So they just kind of sit there. So I'm trying to get past that and not do that anymore. But these are like my garden dirty towels. So let's do 3 of these. And I'm just gonna scoop a little in here. And I'm probably gonna keep it similar to the box that I have out front with all my potting soil. I just find it a little bit less messy if I pot them up kind of over this bag. I'm hoping these are the only ones I have to pot up. Again, my goal is to not have to pot anything up out of the peat pellets, but that doesn't always go to plan, obviously. So we'll see. Not that I won't do it if it's necessary, but it just cuts the extra steps. I don't need to have as many of these nursery pots kind of stored around, even though I probably have more than enough of them. Actually, this one I'll just do out here so it's a little bit easier to see. And then any soil that I leave that gets on the table, I just scoop it right back into the bag, because potting soil does not get wasted in this house. I do often wonder, are some people just not messy when it comes to gardening, specifically potting and repotting? Because I just get dirt all over the place. And I don't know if that's a me thing or if that is a normal thing, but I swear I see other people garden and they don't end up with as much of a mess as I do at the end. So last zucchini, and then I just labeled these zucchini. I didn't put the right variety, which doesn't matter too much to me, but since I'm gonna give some of these away, I want that person, whoever takes them off of the sidewalk, to know the specific variety. So either I can go back and look at the video where I started the seeds, or I'll just find the seed packet in my toolbox up there. Because yeah, for me, I'm only growing one variety of cucumber and zucchini. So again, it's not like, it's like, oh, I can easily find the type that I'm growing later whenever I need to. But for somebody else, when they're just picking up a zucchini plant, especially because I think these are the dwarf varieties or smaller varieties from So Right Seeds, well, I want them to know what to expect when they get these into their garden. Last year, I gave away ground cherries. And what else did I have extras of? I also give away, like, my giveaway bouquets throughout the season, but in terms of seedlings, there had to have been other plants I had extras of. Maybe I left some like zinnias and stuff outside too, I'm not sure. Let me grab my toolbox and find the name of these cucumbers and zucchini plants. Please tell me I was responsible and saved the packets, which I don't think I used the seeds, so I'm assuming I did. Radish, no. Actually, I think these might be in a different location. I need to be more organized. Okay, so this is zucchini round and cucumber Space Master. All right, now we label, and I am only going to label the one I'm giving away. Although, no, I'm gonna be safe. I will label the one I'm giving away and the one that doesn't have the tag in it. So this is zucchini round, and this tape will go right there. Also gonna label you, give you a little sniff. And this one I'm just gonna write zucchini on. All right, 3 down. I will give these a quick water once I am done with all of them, and now we'll pot up the 4 cucumbers. Now I do love cucumbers, but I feel like they're a vegetable I only eat in the summer or when the weather is warm. Like zucchini, we'll get some from the grocery store. In the winter, we'll cook it, but cucumbers for me, I don't know, they just seem like a warm weather food. So I'll eat them raw, I'll eat them with salt. I might try to pickle some this year. I pickled some cucamelons last year or 2 years ago, but my favorite is probably just in a salad with tomatoes, also from my garden, and red onion and balsamic. That's 1 cucumber. Again, I'm keeping 2 of these, so I'll have 2 cucumbers to give away. There we go. We have my 4 cucumber plants. Let's label the 4. Forget, so I'm gonna do 2 with the whole name, so cucumber Space Saver, and then 1 for the one I'm keeping that doesn't have the label in it, that will just say cucumber. I almost said Space Saver, it's Space Master cucumber. Oh, you know what I should also do? I should also give you a Dahlia shower update because, well, spoiler alert, some are sprouting, not all of them yet, but some of them are sprouting. It's been either right at 2 weeks or just under 2 weeks since I started them, which is like typical. 2 weeks I feel like is usually the earliest. I, of course, am afraid all of them have died if they don't sprout within an hour of me planting them, but I am starting to see signs of life, which is always very exciting. Now, let's divide you. I'm sure this will also, again, be a messy process. Let's use these two with some old roots on them. All right, a little bit of soil. So I think I'm gonna pull this off. Now this film, you can plant these pellets with this film. It says it breaks down, which it does a little bit, depending on where I've planted the seedlings. Sometimes it'll break down completely, and then sometimes I still find it, even like now I'm finding some from last year. So I'm sure it does break down over time, but not necessarily like right away. So basically all I'm doing, very, very gently, as the soil falls off, teasing apart these two plants. Now, obviously, always be gentle. I will say though that I find plants are much more resilient than I expect them to be, unless I kill them with root rot. But in terms of like transplanting ones that say don't prefer to transplant, or separating ones like this, again, I try to be gentle, but I find that they will survive much more than I expect them to survive from what I put them through. So this is good. Now I have 3 champagne hollyhocks, which is again the original amount of pellets that I sowed, but 1 didn't germinate at all. And then this pellet had 2 of them in it. So now I have 3 separate ones. And this is where I'm like, should I label these? But they're the only hollyhocks I'm planting up, so I should remember. But I feel like every time I say I should remember what I've planted where, I don't. So I think I will label these. And because these are not a black pot, I can write directly on them with the black pen. Sweep them in. All right, so I'm gonna show you what I do next to water them, get them back under the grow lights. Then I will take the other ones downstairs. We'll give you an update on the shower dahlias first. We'll bring the other ones downstairs, we'll leave them out. I usually leave them out before I go on my walk. I come back, I see if they're still there. If they are, I leave them. I still feel a little sad. If not, I get really happy, but we'll kind of see how quickly these plants disappear. I'm excited. These are the first ones I'm leaving outside this year, and I've missed it so much. So in the past, I have used the domes of the Jiffy seed starting kits, because seed starting kits, they're sitting on the bottom, the black plastic bottom. You add water, it gets absorbed, it works great. You have a little tray to move everything around on. And this dome you only use for a short period of time until they germinate. So I used to, and sometimes I still do, will put the seedlings like on here. The only thing is that this is much more flimsy than the bottom. So if you have water in it, you don't want to move it around. It will spill, it'll bend. Even if you stack a couple on top of each other, I mean, it's a little bit more sturdy, but still not great. So I'm still gonna save this, but what I'm gonna use, hopefully they all fit, is this plant saucer. Now let me take the sticker off. All right, not bad. So this is a plant saucer. This one is actually one of the, like, I feel like on the cheaper sides, it's $3.89 for this large of a size. Some saucers, I mean, I still think that's expensive for a round piece of plastic, but some saucers even smaller than this I feel like are so expensive. That's why I like to use vintage plates or antique plates I find at the store, because those are usually like $2 or $3 as well. They're prettier, and you can find some that go into your plants, but that's not what this video is about. So what I'm gonna do is put all of my plants on here. And again, these are the ones I am keeping for myself, not the ones I am giving away. And I'm going to give these a drink now. I will probably going forward bottom water them. I don't know why, but I feel like when I first like repot something, tell me if there's any sort of reasoning behind this or it's just me, But if I bottom water, I know it will eventually get absorbed to the top, but I kind of like to water from the top in this case when I first plant them in, just to get the soil settled, see if I need to add anything else. But then going forward, these are gonna stay on this tray, and then they'll be moved under the grow light, and I'll just water them by filling up the bottom of this saucer. So that's these. For now, since I'm not gonna carry them down right away, I have some other things to do before I walk, I will put the 3 I'm giving away in the lid from the Jiffy Peat pellet. I will give them a good water, and I will leave these here. I mean, it's gonna be a few hours before I walk. So these will drain. I will carry them downstairs, I think in a cardboard lid that I have. And then that's going to be it. I'll leave them outside and see who takes them. So while I let these sit, let me give you an update on the shower dahlias. Here are the shower dahlias. So we have some sprouts. So total there are 8 in grow bags and then 4 in the nursery pots, because I'm not sure where I'm gonna pot those yet, if they do sprout. But you can see here, and I probably need to get these moved into the light, but we have one of the lilac thyme sprouted out of the 2 I started. And again, this is still on the early side. So even though like I do feel a little nervous about the rest, it's still not long enough for me to know that the other ones aren't going to sprout. Then both of my Penhill watermelon, which is fantastic because I love that color, have sprouted. And one of my Fairway spurs, which is the one that's new to me this year, I think, unless anyone else sees a sprout. I think that's where we're at so far. Now, the dahlias in that shower are all tubers that I purchased this spring from Gethsemane Garden Center. I do have 4 pots of dahlias in the garage, and so far, 2 of the 4, I've seen sprouts from those. So I'm leaving those in there until the weather's warm enough. I don't want to bring any more plants inside in here, so those will stay in there until it's warm enough for them to be outside permanently. There is a very, very tiny window in the garage, so they're in front of the window now. If they get leggy, then maybe I will bring them up here, but that is to be determined. So now I'm gonna go do other non-garden related things, and then in a few hours I'll bring the plants down, we'll give them away. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I wanted to give an update on. I don't think so. And then we will go for a walk, and I will show you some of my favorite things to walk by, mostly plants, fingers crossed, and maybe some cats. Heading out for my walk, I've left a sign here, the 3 plants, and we'll see if they're still here when I get back. Seriously, look at these parkways. The spring flowers aren't gonna be here much longer, but it makes me so happy to see them. Have to stop and give these a sniff. This is Harley. I've seen him for at least 3 or 4 years now. Legend has it he just showed up one day, and he's been here ever since. I am back home now. That was a very fun but slightly windy walk. So, oh, by the way, no one's picked up the plants yet. It's been about an hour. I'm trying not to get too sad that no one wants the cucumber or zucchini, but I'm gonna leave them out there until it gets dark and then bring whatever ones are left inside and try it again on the next nice day. But it was a good walk. I saw my two favorite, well, Harley, the black cat, is mostly outdoors. Like, he doesn't really belong to anyone, but I think some people like let him in. And then Rosie is the other cat that I stopped to pet. She does live on that street and just is like an indoor outdoor cat. So she goes in every night, and I've known them both for many, many years. I also wanted to say, just in case, I don't know if it's different maybe where you live or if you're not in a city, but most of the gardens I showed you were in what's called the parkway. So the area between the sidewalk and the street. And that is not like our property. Like, our parkway is not our property. All parkways belong to the city. Now, whoever lives there, is responsible for like maintaining it, keeping it, like without becoming overgrown with weeds. But the city can come in at any time and tear up anything if it needs to do maintenance, which they have like repaired the sidewalk around it. They have done some tree trimming, and I just nervously stare out there. But because of that, I don't put anything like really, not that I have plants that would be really expensive, but I don't put a ton of money or effort into our parkway. Our parkway does not look anything like the ones that I showed you. It's basically kind of like if I have, so all the bulbs that are up here now get transplanted down there. This is my third year doing that. I do that in a couple weeks here. Like some random plants that I'll have, like I know I have 2 heucheras in my front pots that I'll move in there. It's kind of just the place for leftover plants to go and see if they survive. It's also full shade because a lot of the parkways here have trees in them. Which most of the time I think the city plants those trees. So anyway, that is what having a parkway in the city is like. So I hope you enjoyed that. I really love taking walks, and I do it throughout the winter all bundled up, but obviously it's much nicer to do it now. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.